thing right now.
Rise and shine. It's a beautiful day. I'm alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to the white light.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
It's crazy evil.
Good morning, welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am your host, Jose Galison. What is up, people? It is, July 17th? Beautiful Thursday morning. Got a little run-in today. Doing good, got a workout in, everything. Feeling great. Good to be with you fine people. Before we get into our foreign policy for the day, and before we say our hellos to the group, let's play, 5 to 10 minutes of right-wing cope. What do you guys say? Let's do that together real quick. Here is the latest in the Benny Johnson saga. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of finding myself starting to root for this guy. It kind of is, it feels like what do I make of a Benny? He's almost like a sweet dog that, while I do attribute duplicitousness to him to some degree, it's gross, the degree to which these people shill for what's obviously becoming more and more pedophile, more and more obviously a pedophile or pedophiles. But even still, it's something about Benny. He just seems almost too dumb to be mad at, kind of like a dog. Maybe this is the nicest metaphor, but whatever. So when I see him kind of coming to and coming to the light, if anything, I root for him. I'm like, come on, you can do it, Ben. You got it, buddy. You can do it. Come on. That's where I am with him, because it's I see, I just want him to make the right decisions. I don't know. I see him from the outside, and I just want positive development from Benny. I don't know what it is about him. I wish good things for him. I want him to come to light. I want him to be our greatest warrior. I want Benny to turn. I want him to be our Moshiach, our anti-establishment Moshiach. He is going to be the one who fucking comes to the fore and is our greatest warrior, Benny Johnson. He's going to say, I see the light. I didn't leave the left. I left the right and left the whole goddamn thing. They're a bunch of pedophiles. And here I am fighting the good fight. That's what I want for Benny. That's what I want. Now, Charlie Kirk, who we'll get to in a moment, I don't know. I want things that Vlad the Impaler has dreamt of. But Benny, I don't know. I want nothing but good things for this sweet little warrior. So let's see where he's at, and hopefully we could see him come to some sort of realization that he doesn't need to sell his butthole for these evil pedophiles anymore. There's other people who'll take his butthole elsewhere. Because let's be real, I think he's a fruitcake too. But that's a separate issue. Let's go with it.
This was not like an Epstein show. We weren't doing deep dives. I know it was something we were concerned about, and it's something that we covered with regularity. When there was information that was brought up. So much of that information brought up was by President Trump. And it's just an important thing to make sure that you're not living in bizarro world as a massive Trump supporter who has spent hundreds of thousands of hours on live streams, obviously advocating for these policies and these administrations, defending the administration. In fact, the most viral clips on the Epstein topic has come from this show because it's a winning topic, frankly. And we spent the entire first hour explaining why. And I wasn't planning on playing this clip, but, well, it's here, so why not? Donald Trump began his political career talking about Jeffrey Epstein. We'll just play it very quickly here. Bringing this into the public arena was President Trump. That's a matter of historic record. It's not up for debate. I'm saying that's a good thing. Like, yes, thank you for doing this. Donald Trump, it was 10 years ago, a decade ago, on stage, before anybody ever heard of Prince Andrew or Bill Clinton and Epstein Island. No one knew about those things. And Donald Trump's like, these people are monsters, and they deserve to be called out. I'm running against one of the families who's totally implicated here, the Clintons. And this is what Trump said at the time.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in a Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So...
Nobody ever heard of Bill Clinton on a predator island before Donald Trump brought it up, or Prince Andrew. And it's commendable because Donald Trump was right. Bill Clinton did go to that island. There's tons of evidence of that, including but not limited to the victim testimony. And of course, Prince Andrew paying 10 million plus pound sums in order to silence victims. I mean, Trump was telling us before anybody knew about this. So
I don't know if we can really give him too much credit in retrospect, especially if, I don't know, I guess it depends at what point, if you're ever to assume the grift was ever real, but I think in retrospect it's becoming more and more obvious. The grift was never real. So this pointing out at the Clintons or this or that, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know to what degree that's choreographed amongst the elites, that's decided, or maybe there's just one of these things that one power elite group decides, hey, we're going to fuck over the other elite group that way, and we're going to give up some of the sauce here, but we're only going to implicate one side and use it to our advantage to play I don't know, maybe a dangerous game, that if it goes wrong at some point, obviously you get implicated in it, and it goes an entirely different way. So maybe that's what we're seeing. I don't know. I mean, maybe it really is as simple as, I know a lot of people have said that they think it's like a safety thing. Like, hey, there's assassins trained on every one of his family members, and that's also just as likely. But I'll be completely honest, and everyone goes, oh, he's not nothing. But like now looking back with clear eyes, with kind of hindsight 2020, I feel like a lot of this like stuff, very obvious, glaring character flaws, I think were kind of papered over a lot by a lot of us by the left in their excesses, their bizarre, insane behavior, the grab him by the pussy, like, oh my God, that's so awful, where I don't fucking care. I don't give a shit about that. But now, like the story I showed you the other day, where him and his buddies are palling around in these these pageant parties that were like these 14 to 18-ish year old girls, just like hordes of them in yachts, and just him and his rich friends, and all the illusions. Then also there's the John Casablanca, who his daughter he had would do photo shoots with her. I mean, you start to see it's just kind of one big party. So I don't know. I think maybe all the craziness of the left and the fact that they'll cry about fucking everything, kind of the boy who cried wolf thing. They cried wolf about this guy, and let's be real, I think he probably was a wolf, but they were playing him out to be this, I don't know, some goddamn next level, mecha fucking super Hitler wolf. And so we're just kind of like, when it's just, a wolf like every other elite, we're kind of like, what? No, you've made this to be such a thing, and you've been so ridiculous about like obvious stuff, like locker room talk type stuff, that when there's very obvious, clear red flags, like these sorts of things, we're willing to dismiss them because we don't trust you anymore. We no longer trust your sources. So when that like article from 2020 in The Guardian comes out, I believe it was The Guardian that I showed you guys the other day. I might be wrong. But I think we just naturally, as well, it makes sense that we did. A lot of us just probably completely dismissed a lot of the sources in this. Just kind of like, well, that's just somebody saying this. And obviously everybody hates Trump because everybody hates Trump. It was the spirit of the nation that seemed to be taken over. Everyone hates Trump. So anything they say about Trump is probably bullshit. I think we may have dismissed some real fucking shit in there. So much like the one I told you guys about the other day. So, but yeah, let's finish this.
When I say that this is a problem of the administration's making, well, I mean, there's an enormous amount of evidence to back that up. We don't run a channel here to like talk nonstop about Epstein. It's certainly a topic that we cover along with thousands of other topics. But the DOJ memo that was released last Sunday forced the hands of people who cover the topics of import and note on the internet, because people said, what the hell with this memo? Given the preponderance of clips and evidence, and here's an article where Jeffrey Epstein brags about being a CIA agent. Just one article. It's just one piece of example. And so, like, it's the point I'm trying to make here is that it's the administration and their handling of this, which is why everyone's talking about it. It didn't have to be handled this way. It's been abysmal.
By the way, I totally forgot about this. This was a thing I'd known before. That yes, Jeffrey Epstein had made claims to people that he was CIA, because I know we talked about the CIA angle the other day.
And people aren't satisfied, and that's what all available polling shows. And there's so much evidence that the government has that could be released to engage in the pressure release valve. Whether it's weather modification, JFK, Russiagate, as we have, I find it stingingly ironic. Thank you for that article. I find it stingingly ironic that Trump compares all of these things to these hoaxes, and the reason we know they're hoaxes is because evidence was released. I don't believe Trump is guilty of anything. I don't, because I know these monsters that had fought Trump and tried to put a bullet through his head on live TV. They would have released everything. If there was a single scintilla of incriminating evidence against Donald Trump in there, it would be out.
Bullet to his head, bullet head, bullet head, bullet head, bullet head. We're never going to hear the end of that, huh? Are we? All right, let's get into one more video of right-wing cope. I wanted to give our little situation, status update on Charlie Kirk. Now, Benny is obviously being a little bit more questioning. Now, Charlie, I'm particularly just disgusted with right now. Now, this is him. I haven't watched this. This is him saying he has advice about the Epstein files. I was going to play this video just because the caption is what got me. It was just gross. Because people are talking about Epstein because they love Trump. We are fearful the same people who tried to kill Trump, impeach him, and throw him in prison were behind Epstein. Epstein represents a symbol of an out-of-control shadow government, and this is a chance to bring it to heel. Now, I'm sorry, if you are like genuinely someone out there, even if you are a big MAGA guy, if it seems like the implication of what he's getting at here is people care about Epstein. Well, he says it right there. He says people are talking about Epstein because they love Trump. So the implication being here that essentially people care about Epstein because they love Trump. Okay, I guess the idea here being that it's like people are upset about this because they're fans of Trump, and that is true. But I'm just saying, like, to spin this as this, I don't know, it's just gross. And then to also put it like, oh, the same people who did this just seems unnecessarily just kind of, I don't know, just kind of, I don't know, like those little Chinese, those little balls that that they're supposed to like roll around your hand and like they go shing 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 shing, and you're like, the idea is you're supposed to, it's like a relaxing thing. You're supposed to do it just enough, just right to where it's like it doesn't do the ching 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 thing. You're like supposed to move it. It's like it's a whole muscle control relaxation thing. That's just what Charlie Kirk has been doing with Trump's balls, like that right there. So it's like, I don't know, just that. Then compound that with this fake, I don't know, whatever the fuck this is. It's just at some point these people need to call out the devil, and the devil is Trump at this point. He is the guy. I mean, I don't know how many fucking times does he have to double down before we get, hey, yeah, no, fuck this guy, dude. Like, I know it's like, oh, we shouldn't be rude. I don't know. What is the appropriate response when someone is blatantly covering for child abuse to the degree of you're either basically a pedophile or you think you might get murdered. It's really one of the two. It's doing the audio thing again. God, it hasn't even been that long. Give me a second.
And look, my other piece of advice here is that don't get too fired up about the Truth Social and President Trump ranting and venting about this. And let me tell you why. It's that President Donald Trump went through an entire first term. He went through an entire term where people were constantly turning on him for fake stuff. Constantly turning on him. And so he says, wait a second, like, he basically thinking, he knew Jeffrey Epstein. He got in a big fight with Jeffrey Epstein. He kicked him out of his club. He's mistrustful of all of these different elements here. At the same...
Yeah, we're never going to get stopped being told that he got kicked out of the club and that he almost took a bullet. Those are the two ones you always heard.
Time, the message that I want the president to hear, both privately and publicly, is that...
It's also like this idea of to like reconstruct. It's like, he's like, everyone used to like turn on me. And he's like, what? You guys were like turning on me? What? Like, come on. Like, come on, man, I'm having trust issues here. Just everyone had turned on me on crazy stuff before. Now you're all just crooning me up with this, like, this whole child rape thing. This whole child rape thing. What, you guys turning on me? Like, what an unreal level of spin.
You and the grassroots, the emphasis and the focus on this is, partly because of all the kind of back and forth of, is it up, is it down? Also, PTSD, post-traumatic.
I don't know. Just pay attention when we're watching these. Just see. I think you at least can see who has a flicker of a soul, of like a thinking, a thinking, questioning, desire for better. And I don't even know, like it's something of worth, behind those eyes. Essentially, that's something I think something to watch for here. Like Benny, I actually I don't know. I guess it could just be some perfectly contrived show. But I just genuinely think he's just that stupid and naive. And I don't know. I do have this glimmer of hope. Like, come on, Benny, you can do it. Whereas Charlie, I don't know, man. More and more, it's looking like, dog, you're evil. You're evil as fuck, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, you could put a smile and go, Jolly one girl, whatever the fucking, this chud fucking personality that, Charlie Kirk puts on. At the end of the day, you are part of a propaganda network for pedophilia. So I don't know, either fucking bucket or I don't know. I'm gonna keep reminding you about it, and I think a lot of people will as well. They should, because I don't know, child rape is a bit of a bridge too far.
Stress disorder, I guess you could call it. But I think part of this is just a messaging misunderstanding. Again, emails are flooding in right now, supportive of the way that we are articulating it, and that's where John Solomon says we're going to get a special prosecutor on this. I think it's phenomenal. What I'm going to say to the president,
we'll come to that soon.
If I see him soon, or if we talk on the phone, or I'll say this the same thing on the show. There's no private agenda here. Is that, Mr. President, the emphasis on Epstein.
And I don't know. I get it. These guys are all caught up in access and this and that. But if you're telling me you feel super strongly about this, and you're still telling me that well, I'm on the phone going, well, Mr. President, okay, don't get me wrong. I get it. I don't know. I've even heard some people that I respect that have that this oh, well, would have some, respect for the office or this or that if I was in this situation or whatever. And yeah, I guess to some extent, some degree of, general decorum, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd give you the little honorific. I mean, maybe I might be a little bit stingy on it if I get the feeling you're getting really off on it, because that's just how I am. But whatever. I can get past honorifics. I've done that gay shit for a long fucking time, but whatever. But the idea that you're going to be I don't know, that given this context and you're not at even, there's no, I don't know, the fact that you as a man cannot at all put this in we got into it, or we, I don't know, some level of bravado as a man of I push back and this and that, and nothing, just, hi, Mr. President, I just want to make sure that you know that me and your fellow supporters, this is really where we're coming from when we say this about the child rape thing. You're I don't know. I don't know how I could come back to you guys with that message and then not be I don't know, just knowing that you guys would be this is how you are characterizing your interaction here. I'm not saying, obviously it would be insane if he came in here and was yeah, and then I was listen here, bitch, fuck you. and then he was oh no, Charlie Kirk, you're so right, and I'm such a little, obviously I'm not saying to make this big lying over the top and burn all your bridges, but you have to come back to your supporters and be this theoretical, I had a conversation with the leader of the free world who is currently on his something fifth or sixth doubling down on a child rape ring, and I'm supposed to come back to my people and be yep, but I said, well, hello, sir, if I may, if I do declare, if I may approach the throne, I'm sorry, no, I don't know, I kind of gross. A little fucking gay. A little super duper duper gay. I don't know. It's just pathetic.
Is truly the best intentions of your most loyal followers. We're not trying to score points with the CNNs or the New York Times. It's truly because we care about you. It's because we want what's best for the presidency. And one of the core campaign promises.
Okay. And even the idea that you would have to feel the need to come to another man of hey man, this whole child rape thing, just to clarify so you know, my motivation here, it's because I love you. It's because we love you. Like what? Like what an insane way to deliver your concerns about a child rape ring. Okay, Charlie.
That I know that you are pushing forward is that you want to dismantle the deep state. We are messengers.
To be fair, like I said, I get the concept of what people say. I think there is some level of like the idea of like, well, you know, we push back when it's one of our own because they represent us. And I get that. But it is also, I feel like he's kind of also making the point a little bit like, well, I mean, even then, even also to feel the need to deliver it that way, just such an absurd level of just fellation. It's just gross.
Here. We are relaying what we are hearing from your most loyal ultra MAGA supporters all the time. And it's not that people are saying,
God, you're so gross.
They want to learn about Epstein because they have any suspicion of President Trump. No, we don't think. No one thinks you're involved in any way of that stuff whatsoever.
I do.
The way that you taught us is that we need to go after the rogue intel agency.
And the repeated insistence over. Just want to really, I don't fucking think anything. Well, okay, you're making yourself look more and more like a bitch. If you're not thinking anything. What do you mean? Like, how many more times does he got to do the insane behavior before you go? I don't know, or at the very least throw out something of like, I think he's concerned about his own safety or something, because otherwise you're just saying he's just so lacking a moral compass that just whatever.
That has been festering in this country for decades, and by an act of God, and by your courage, and by what the president has been able to do, and you just happen to be president. We are your students in dismantling the deep state. And this cancer has been festering in this country for decades. So the boil is the intelligence community. The boil is James Comey is involved in all of this stuff. James Comey's
it's a Comey thing, okay.
daughter is the prosecutor on the Ghislaine Maxwell case.
That is true, and the Diddy thing. So which we'll come back to that.
All the
which these people like to. They keep bringing this up, but if anything, let's be real. It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Prosecutors that could have been chosen in the federal government. Maureen Comey, I think that's her name, was chosen as the prosecutor on the Maxwell case. Come on. And the Diddy case. And look, my one piece that I would say to the president, privately as well, is have an understanding of your supporters, your followers here, and know that they're not trying to take you out.
What a fucking faggot. What a fucking raging homo. That's just great. All right, guys, let's say our good mornings. Let's pop in the chat. That took far too long. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, JMS. Good morning, Nevsky. Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Hustle Bones. Thanks for reminding me about Chabad. Andrew Jacobs. Good morning, Wiretap. Good morning, everybody. Benny is gay, magtarded. Yes. Good morning, Alan Omofo. Good morning. Oops. I fucking ran into my headphones there. Good morning, Tom33. Good morning, Knife Safety Plus. Ooh, I accidentally moved the thingy. Let me recenter myself. There we go. I'm not centered. Recenter. There we go. Good morning, Comment Mama. Good morning, Eddie Grimm. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, John Black. He says he's a fellow black shirt enthusiast, so at least we have one commonality. I'm a big black shirt fan as well. Good morning, Glowy Nigger Spick. Good morning, King David. Good morning, everybody. Tom33. I still don't believe Trump's like behind a child trafficking ring, but he's evidently patronizing it, which makes him one of them nonetheless. It is what it is. Time to move on to the next fake great man. Yup. Says, can't stand the MAGA cope. Yeah, it's pretty pathetic, really. Someone says, tell Tom that Trump literally ran Miss Teen USA grooming pageants. Yeah, you may have missed that one the other day, or maybe it just wasn't compelling. I'll be honest, I'm still processing that one. I wasn't aware about all the specifics of the weirdness that goes into that, and then his the little cruises. They went for that look of the year competition stuff, where they literally took him out on cruises and stuff, and then that was the John Casablanca stuff, who was a photographer who got busted, I believe, for pedophilia at least once, if not multiple times. And also, weirdly enough, I guess his dad was some big figure. I need to look into that guy. I guess he was some sort of notable pedophile as well. And then his son, I guess, is the lead singer of The Strokes, which is what a weird world we live in. Yeah. And then good morning, everybody. Good morning, Solar Explorer Coaching. He says the gaslight has been rather intense. Yes, it sure has. Comment Mama pointing out Howard Lutnick laughing in our faces when Trump talked outside his plane. They're getting their kicks right now, 100%. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Aggressively Green, saying Republic pundits use insane mental gymnastics to explain everything. Democratic pundits just blatantly lie and then move on. The latter actually works better. Yeah, I'd almost prefer that. Like, it's, I don't know, this feels more disrespectful. Good morning, Fire Pixie. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Real John Doe. Saying this guy is just a tool. Says the spin machine is an overdrive these days and is spitting out total nonsense. Says this is just as cringe as Tucker saying I love Donald Trump deeply. Yeah, at least though I will say with Tucker though, Tucker's actually been throwing some shots his way. So hey, whatever. I mean, I get the concept. Like there is some merit to the idea of like I don't want to burn this bridge. But I think there's ways to thread that needle without being a complete and utter fucking bitch. And that's kind of, honestly, I'd say that threading that needle is kind of what Tucker's been doing. Because Tucker hasn't, like, said anything about, like, Trump's character. Although it is kind of wild to not really take shots at this guy given all this. But, hey, whatever. I mean, he's pointing out all this shit. So it's hard to believe he's not, like, incensed and doesn't feel certain ways about this. But maybe he just has the correct possible view that like, hey, I'm in a better place if I don't openly flame him, because then it kind of clouds your motivations. I think then it makes it look like everyone's going to seat every little thing as like, well, you're just a Trump hater, and you're like, no, I want Trump because he's like seating and like giving Trump the chance to do stuff, and he's just kind of because like for example tonight he's having on he's doing his first live stream ever with Daryl Cooper to talk about the Epstein stuff for those who aren't aware. So. Yeah, I mean, he may be still saying stuff like, "Oh, I love Trump" or whatever, but he's already said some pretty testy things. Like I know he said something fairly recently. He said, made multiple comments, but like, "Hey, this whole like, oh, I can't talk about it because whatever, it's just not gonna fly." Like he said that with some anger, and even said stuff like, you get a middle finger from me from that type thing. So like he didn't like directly. I mean, I guess it's sort of somewhere between directly and indirectly. But point being is he's kind of riding that line. So I think there's the point being is that these influencers like the Kirks of the world, like I mean maybe they just don't feel comfortable enough in their position to ride it out like Tucker is. But, I mean, let's be real. Tucker's giving you your cover, so you kind of can. But I think a lot of these people just really probably when it comes down to it are just cowards. And they're just not willing to, I don't know. They're not willing to take that risk. They're too tied into the establishment system, so they'll lose access and stuff. So, I don't know. I think it's just more of a revealing thing. It just kind of, this is a situation where you can see who's putting their foot in what. Like Tucker is big enough, and he kind of has his foot a little bit in the establishment and a lot in the anti-establishment as well. So he's able to do this a lot. Whereas I know these are other people that was kind of debatable where they're at. So I don't know. Once again, with like the Kirks, I think it just kind of is. This reveals this is where they're at. They're not willing to flame that and even come close to flaming that connection. So whatever. All right, good morning, Adrian Brody. It says, Charlie, my best memories are in Israel Kirk. Good morning, JB. Knife 60 Plus says, these so-called people ran cover for Israel while it turned kids into ground beef in the streets of Gaza. Watching them squabble and cope over Trump does bring a smile to my face. Yeah, it is kind of wild. Even in the Turning Point event, while Dave did like crush in that one debate, it was kind of wild. The one time when he did seem to get a little bit tripped up with the crowd was when he was like talking shit about like Israel murdering women and children. And then everyone was going like, and like you could hear a little bit in the crowd kind of hesitant. You're like, what is even the hesitation anymore? Like, what do you mean? So I think it's just so beyond the pale. It's just I think some people just it's hard to believe. So let me see what else is in here. So Tom says, so far the modeling thing just isn't compelling to me as Trump is coordinating the trafficking. Convinced he's a pedo though, so that's all that matters to me. Oh, okay. Well, then I think I misunderstood what you were saying before. I thought you were trying to say that like he hadn't done any illicit things like that. So I think I misunderstood your point. So yeah, okay, all right, cool. But I get it. Yeah, you're just more saying like him being part of like the coordination portion or something. I got it. Okay. Here's comment. Mama says Anuska de Giorgio, Epi victim, was introduced to Trump via Maxwell, and it was reported on in 1999. Yeah, as always, guys, remember you guys can tag me and stuff. So if you're on social media, particularly Twitter. Tag me and stuff. Also Telegram. I do check in there at least usually once a day to see what all everyone's chit-chatting about. So I do get ideas for stuff to cover from there. But particularly Twitter. So if you do have stuff like this, you find sources or whatever. And hey, if it's something original from you, I'll usually retweet too if it's good content. So, yep. So Hustlebone says Tucker finna across the line tonight with Tucker. Says, yeah, Tucker always says nice things about shitty people. I'm just saying it's gay to say you love another man deeply. Yeah, that is. I will say that is gay. I love another man deeply. Like, yeah, it's kind of gay. But it's also kind of he talks in that sort of way though. Like he means that in like in the way that a man that like. We love our fellow man. Like he kind of talks in sort of religious ways sometimes, I guess, almost, which I know I kind of like. So JB says Dave is cool, but a few times when listening, people pushing back on Trump over Epstein and previously Iran, he mentions Charlie, which is wild and so off. Now, okay, on that, JB, you got to think like a lot of things have changed a lot. I've said a lot about different people throughout, and I think I even at one point was actually pointing out how Charlie was one of the better people. And honestly, it really wasn't even until like the past like week that I completely flipped on him, because Charlie was saying lots of like, and this was at the beginning of the Epstein stuff. This was before I think the big time influencers got the literal call, because Trump actually admitted that he called multiple people, is my understanding, and was kind of like, hey, chill. And he was one of them. But before that, he had been kind of more testy. He had said more testy things. But this was, I think, this was much earlier on, which was far more like it didn't necessitate a condemnation of Trump to continue on with the Epstein thing. Whereas I think the further this goes on, the more and more ridiculous you look if you aren't in any way condemning Trump in this. So I think that's where that's where Charlie left the station, is around there, is when it became no longer, essentially you either had to fall in line or it became ludicrous to be hanging out there without calling out Trump. That was the line, it seemed like, when Kirk bounced. And I think what you're referring to is Dave pointed that out at times before this. I think he may have said something about the turning point or something about that, implying because he let him. But like literally it was post the turning point event over the weekend that I really, personally for me, I was like, and I think for a lot of people, that's when the call came in and it became very clear where Charlie was at. It seemed like Charlie was going to break it. Benny's been another character kind of like, this is why I've been kind of liking following the two, because it's kind of like, where are they going? What's going on with them? Are they going to prove they have a soul? I've given up on Charlie. I didn't really care to begin with. I kind of thought he was a derpy fucking homo to begin with. That just is kind of a shill. And I've just kind of been proven right as time goes on. Benny, I'm like he's like this kind of this retarded golden retriever where I'm like, come on, there's a soul in there. You can do it. Come on. Rape is bad. We like kids. We don't want them doing that. Like, these are lizard people. They do evil. Like, it's like I'm wishing for him to come. And like Benny has bucked it a couple times, and it's seeming like it's sticking. So I know it's just it's weird though. I wouldn't have betted on Benny of the two to begin with. I would have thought that actually Charlie would have been the one that would have, I don't know, had more guts, because Charlie's actually like if we're looking at this from the perspective of who's being more courageous or whatever. If they speak out, I think Benny. I mean, I don't know enough about their, the brass tacks of their organizations, this and that, but I mean, once again, I don't know enough about Benny, but I think he's more of a solo operation. I mean, there's no way in fuck he's as big of a name as Charlie Kirk. So him in any way, shape, or form actually bucking Trump, especially when he's become known as being a Trump sycophant, it's kind of, he really is, breaking his whole business model, whereas Charlie was in a unique position where he actually could have been a leader, a thought leader, pushing back. And once again, it's kind of a slam dunk. It's child rape. I mean, I don't know. You kind of come off looking like a really, really good guy if you're the one saying, "Hey, I'm not cool with this whole child rape thing." But no, despite all that, he fell in line. So I don't know. But anyways, that's just to speak to the idea of like Trump or Dave pointing out. I was pointing out, I think, in the past couple of weeks, how Charlie was one of the better ones, because he initially had stronger rhetoric on this, but he at some point got the call and fell in line. Good morning, Wiretap. Saying this is showing how they've gotten people to comply for decades. This is their game. That's why it needs to go away all of a sudden. Jew bankers have too much to lose. Good morning, RLB Ball 15 says, so it's so easy to see who the shills are lately. 100%. Hustlebone says Dave's also just really focused on not burning bridges. Yeah, I'm like way less focused on, and that's in a smart way too. Like, I mean, I'm sure, and it's not at all to say that like Dave's like a pussy or anything like that, or like, oh, he won't say nothing. It's just like I'm sure if I like got Dave on my show and I asked him, hey, what do you think about what Charlie's doing right now? Like, and where he's at, narratively speaking, I'm sure he would have choice words to say for Charlie. I mean, maybe not quite as mean as I can get sometimes, although Dave can get mean in his own way, which in some sort of way is almost kind of worse. So it's not that I think he would in any way shy away from it. He's just, I don't think he's going to go out of his way to condemn Charlie Kirk or whatever. So it's like, yeah, there's no point in burning bridges if you're only burning them just to burn it. Now, if it is like someone, hey, ask you, hey, what's your opinion? I think Dave would speak up. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. I mean, obviously, yeah, there is like a bridge there, but I mean, I think Dave, I mean, he realizes too, like he got where he is, from being honest and like, so like, I think Dave ended up at that turning point event despite everything. So I don't think he needs to like really, I mean, obviously he shouldn't be shitty to Charlie because that's a good way to ensure you don't get invited back to an event like that. But I don't think he doesn't need to fillet Charlie because he got brought there despite Charlie's audience. So, all right. Yeah. And he's saying, yeah, it's a good thing Dave doesn't burn bridges. That's why he keeps getting invited back to big shows that disagree with him. Yeah. I mean, it would just be stupid. So, but he's definitely said some shit. Like, he's like, how I talk shit about Tim Pool and stuff. Like, I mean, obviously he doesn't make a point of it. He has plenty of other stuff to do and he doesn't put out as much content as me. But he's pointed out how he's basically called Matt Walsh and Tim Pool cowards before for not speaking out. And so I just think he also doesn't really hang out in that, like, commenting on that side of things. Like he's one of the ones making it happen. So good morning, Kubert. Let's get into it. Let's get into some foreign policy. We talked a little bit about the Syria stuff yesterday. Here's some more on it. So Israel launches the airstrikes on Syria's defense ministry and near the presidential palace in Damascus. This is the one that I kind of botched covering yesterday, but it was actually ended up being a way bigger story than I realized because Israel was involved, and this was what they adjourned. Like when this started is when they adjourned Netanyahu's trial. So it looks like this may have played a part in trying to get out of legal trouble for Netanyahu. Let's go ahead and read this. Israel launched heavy strikes against Syrian government targets on Wednesday, hitting the Syrian defense ministry and near the presidential palace in Damascus, killing at least 3 people and wounding 34. The heavy Israeli attack came despite a U.S. push to reach a normalization deal between Israel and the al-Qaeda-linked Syrian government that took power in Damascus following the regime change that ousted former Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in December 2024. According to a report from Axios, Israel carried out the airstrikes despite pressure from the U.S. to stand down, which was conveyed by U.S. Ambassador to Turkey Tom Barak in a call with Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer. We told the Israelis to stand down and take a breath, a U.S. official told the outlet. Here's some of the explosions that you can see. So you can see them here. Oh, shit. Holy crap. That one was big. Holy crap. Those are some big-ass explosions. They ain't kidding. Okay. So as Israel bombs Syria's defense ministry. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Israel carried out the airstrikes following clashes in the southern Syrian city of Suwajia. Several days ago, fighting broke out between the Druze minority and Bedouin tribes, with forces from the HTS-led Syrian government intervening on the side of the Bedouins and also committing summary executions of Druze civilians. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz justified the heavy strikes in Damascus by claiming Israel was looking to protect the Druze, and he suggested that more attacks will come. The warnings in Damascus have ended. Now painful blows will come, Katz wrote on X. The IDF will continue to operate forcefully in Suwajia to destroy the forces that attack the Druze until their complete withdrawal. Katz also shared a video on X of a live news broadcast that caught the bombing of the defense ministry on camera. The painful blows have begun. According to a report from Israel's Channel 12, Israel is planning a prolonged military operation in Syria following the Damascus attacks. Israeli strikes were also reported in Suwajia and in the countryside of Daraa, which is also located in southern Syria. While Israel is framing its attacks as support for the Druze, Israel's real motive is likely that it doesn't want to agree to a normalization deal with Syria, since it would have to give up territory it has captured in its invasion of southern Syria, which was launched after the ousting of Assad. At the time, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu celebrated the regime change and took credit for helping set it in motion. The new Syrian government, under the leadership of former al-Qaeda leader Ahmad al-Sharaa, has been very differential toward Israel and has not launched any attacks on Israel despite the invasion and frequent Israeli airstrikes against Syrian territory. Damascus has also been engaged with talks with Israel about a normalization deal. So part of this normalization would require them to give them back the land that Israel, whenever Assad left and they took over this buffer zone, this would require them to give it back. Now, I don't know if that's really exactly the motive. I think it's what a lot of people are thinking, that it might have more to do with the trial going on at the time. Maybe more will come out about that in this story here. Here is Syria announces another ceasefire in Sawadya, says troops are withdrawing. So today's ceasefire announcement in the southern Syria Sawadya governorate went pretty poorly. There was fighting before and after, and it fell apart more or less immediately. Wednesday, they're trying again, announcing a new ceasefire. Tuesday's ceasefire came from Defense Ministry officials, while Wednesday's was announced by the Interior Ministry. Both came with an endorsement from some Druze officials, though once again, Wednesday's agreement has already been disavowed by one prominent local Druze figure, Sheikh Hikmat al-Hijiri. According to the hopes, though, Syria has begun to withdraw troops from the Sawadya area. This reportedly came after the U.S. asked them to do so, with an eye toward pushing the Druze to voluntarily integrate into the Islamist-dominated central government. So, okay, it sounds like Syria is withdrawing, and that's at our request. So it seems like we weren't able to control Israel, so maybe we get Syria to stop, since Syria has been doing everything they can to not seemingly cause problems with Israel. Because we're in this weird situation where, let's be real, this new situation, this Shara government, who's former al-Qaeda, it's basically, to some degree, something along the lines of an Israeli puppet government. Let's be real. And so that's why they're letting them get away with everything. They're the ones who've gone on and on about how they want to normalize this, that. But at the same time, it's like Israel's kind of, I think, in a position where they don't really care either way. Like, they can kind of get what they want either way, regardless of whether Syria is a failed state that's in shambles or if it has a puppet government. So they can literally control the puppet government to put it back in shambles. They don't care. This is my perception, at least, of the situation. And it seems like, I think particularly with Netanyahu's trials going on, it made more sense to them, instead of working towards a normalization and essentially creating some sort of Abraham Accords type situation in Syria with their new puppet government. Instead, we just let them fall into shit, and we use this to continue to distract from our other failings going on. So, I don't know. Either way, though, it's a win-win for Israel. So, all right. And the fighting in Sawadya first erupted Sunday in the Bedouin area's neighborhood of Makuz in the city's east. Fighting escalated. Druze came in from the surrounding areas, and the local Bedouins called tribal allies from nearby as well. When the Syrian military arrived, they reportedly took the Bedouin side, killing a number of Druze civilians on top of what was already going on. At this point, in excess of 300 people have been killed in Sawadya and the surrounding area. A large number of Israeli Druze crossed into Syria, apparently with designs of participating in the fight. Members of the Israeli Knesset also entered Syria, claiming they were trying to convince the Israeli Druze to return home. The MKs only got as far as the village of Hayder, far from the fighting, and it's not clear if the other Druze that crossed the border went any farther than that. I didn't realize these Druze were, I don't know if they're all Israeli, so that's weird. Israeli Druze. Probably should look more into what the fuck a Druze is. So the MKs only got as far as the village of Hayder, far from the fighting. It's not clear if the other Druze that crossed the border went any farther than that. So it literally sounds like these Druze or Israelis, they're almost sounds like some sort of settler situation where they're moving in, or were they already there? I don't know. So maybe we're almost seeing like some semblance of a settler operation here. I'm unsure. Israel has forbidden the Syrian government from having any assets south of Damascus, which includes the entire Sawadiyah governorate. As a result, Israel has attacked Syrian military forces in Sawadiyah since Monday. And on Wednesday, they escalated matters by attacking the Syrian Defense Ministry building in Damascus itself. Though Israeli officials only sometimes present this as having anything specifically to do with the Druze, sometimes they present the military operations as being done to protect the Druze from the Islamist government. Okay, well, once again, this does kind of sound like de facto settling. So if it's like they're only seemingly interacting whenever Druze stuff happens, like it's a pogrom thing that we're talking about in the West Bank, where it's like, I don't know. Maybe the Druze aren't starting shit. I don't know. But it looks to me like, who knows? The Druze could be antagonizing shit. And then as soon as shit pops off, then the Israeli government comes in and protects them, type deal. And kind of like what we see in the West Bank, where all these belligerent, settlers, essentially causing riots, causing problems. And as soon as, the authorities get involved, then they always side, they come to the side of the settlers, regardless of how absurd the situation is. So maybe it's a situation like this we're seeing, just on an international level, I guess, between nations. I don't know. Weird. All right. All right. That's it. That's the end of that story. Let's see. On the sad daily count, 87 Palestinians in Gaza the past 24 hours. Also, numbers gone down a little bit, I guess, but we've got our first death via aid stampede. So on 21 were killed during incident near an aid distribution site operated by the U.S. and Israeli-backed GHF in Khan Yunis. Witnesses told the Associated Press that American mercenaries who work for the GHF used pepper spray and stun grenades in a large crowd of Palestinians near the entrance of the GHF site before it opened, causing panic. Other witnesses told Al Jazeera that GHF guards used tear gas in the crowd, and the health ministry said at least 15 people died due to being crushed by the crowd and suffocation from the gas. We were running like everyone else. We got to the gate and realized it was closed. Thousands of people were there, a witness told Al Jazeera. The Americans fired tear gas into the crowd to disperse them, which caused a stampede, and many people died while being crushed by the crowd. The health ministry said that the incident marked the first time deaths had been recorded due to suffocation and the immense stampede of citizens at AIDS distribution centers. So first death via stampede, isn't that great? For its part, the GHF is blaming the other citizens, blaming the incident on Hamas, claiming the Palestinian group infiltrated the crowd. A GHF spokesman claimed that a large number of Palestinians in the crowd were armed with pistols, but no evidence was produced to back up the claim, besides a photo of a pistol the GHF claimed was confiscated. The GHF also said an American medic was stabbed and wounded. The incident marks the first time the GHF acknowledged a mass casualty event at one of its aid sites, despite hundreds of Palestinians being massacred by the IDF on the roads to the sites. Whistleblowers who work for the GHF have also reported that Americans working at the aid sites use stun grenades, tear gas, and even live ammunition to disperse crowds of unarmed, hungry Palestinians. I believe I thought I saw somewhere we're up to like 800 or something. It doesn't have the number here. Oh, never mind, I'm retarded. No, I thought I saw it. It's not here, but I'll have to find that number somewhere. I swear we're getting near triple figures, I think, getting close to it for the aid ones. And it's kind of wild that this is the first time they've admitted any deaths, and it's in the face of a literal fucking stampede. So, but according to them, that's the only one. That's the only time. That's it. Just that, guys. Don't worry about it. Then we have Huckabee. Apparently, he showed up at Netanyahu's corruption trial. I don't know what to make of this. I mean, I think when you have someone of this political caliber, it does kind of say something. I mean, apparently, the Israeli politicians or whoever it is, the legal authorities there seem to think so. But U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee on Wednesday made an appearance at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's corruption trial in a highly unusual move in a strong show of support for the Israeli leader. The Israeli newspaper Haaretz, which is very critical of Netanyahu, described Huckabee's visit to the trial as an American mafioso-like intimidation tactic on a Democratic ally's independent justice system for the sake of protecting its political partner. After visiting the trial, Huckabee backed President Trump's recent calls for an end to Netanyahu's trial. I stopped by the trial of Netanyahu in Tel Aviv today. My conclusion, President Trump is right again, Huckabee wrote on X. He thanked the U.S. ambassador for his support. Israeli leader is facing charges of bribery, theft, and breach of trust, and has been accused of using his executive power to delay his trial, including by waging war across the region. According to the Times of Israel, Netanyahu's trial was adjourned on Wednesday upon the news that Israel was bombing the Syrian capital of Damascus. So, I mean, we have him showing up, kind of showing face, kind of showing public support. I mean, there is also on the Huckabee side, he did meet with the father of the guy who died in the West Bank, the American citizen who died in the West Bank. So good on him. Hopefully, maybe we can see an American investigation being actually put into this. But hey, I mean, it's kind of credit where credit's due. I'm glad they actually did anything whatsoever at all, especially considering I can't help but continuing to mention this. The first time this was reported on, apparently the family was told essentially, I'll refer you to Israel. So, yeah. So compared to that, doing a lot better. And the last story we got on the foreign policy front here. Oops, accidentally exited out of the presentation here. Give me a second. Let me bring the screen back up. We've got 12 nations commit to unprecedented measures holding Israel accountable for genocide. This is from the Cradle. It says the Hague Group announced on 16 July that 12 nations have agreed to unprecedented measures aimed at stopping the Israeli genocide of Palestinians in Gaza following an emergency summit in Bogota, Colombia. According to the summit's final statement, the measures included implementing an arms embargo on weapons to Israel, preventing ships carrying weapons to Israel from docking at ports, reviewing public contracts to support the Israeli occupation of Palestine, fulfilling obligations to ensure accountability for most serious crimes under international law, and backing prosecutions of Israeli war criminals at national and international levels. So of the 31 nations that attended the historic summit, only Bolivia, Colombia, Cuba, Indonesia, Iraq, Libya, Malaysia, Namibia, Nicaragua, Oman, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and South Africa committed to implementing the measures fully. According to the statement, the remaining 18 nations unanimously agreed that the era of impunity must end and backed a unified call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. These 12 states have taken a momentous step forward. UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territories, Francesca Albanese, she's the one they actually recently they sanctioned or whatever exactly it is they did over here because of her ICC stuff. The clock is now ticking for states from Europe to the Arab world and beyond to join. We come to Bogota to make history, and we did, Colombian President Gustavo Petro said. Together we have begun the work of ending the era of impunity. These measures show that we will no longer allow international law to be treated as optional or Palestinian life as disposable. In response to the summit, the U.S. State Department issued a scathing statement on Tuesday, stressing that Washington strongly opposes efforts by so-called multilateral blocs to weaponize international law as a tool to radicalize anti-Western agendas. All right, guys, let's roll the chat, see what you guys got to say. Good morning, JC. I think that's the first I'm seeing you in here. So there you go. They're literally claiming it's a humanitarian attack to protect the Druze. Yeah, and I didn't realize the Druze were Israeli until I caught that little detail in there. I always just thought they were some fucking ethnic group over there. So that adds another little wrinkle in there now, doesn't it? Here we go. Comment Mama says, Isaiah 17:1, the burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. Yep, and Israel's bombing them right now, Damascus. Or not right now, they did before. John Doe says, I wish people understood that the people doing what they're doing to Palestine want the same outcome from you on a much grander scale and more covertly, of course, 100%. This is also public flex on Trump's bitch ass after he was just over there sucking off their Al-Qaeda president. Yeah. They also bombed a Catholic church, says Glowy Niggerspick. You already know the American evangelicals are jerking it to that news. Yeah, they've bombed tons of churches. We've covered that plenty on the show. All right, that's it from you guys. All right, let's get into... what do we got here? All right, this is Bannon. So there's talk of a special prosecutor. Let's hear what Bannon has to say about that.
You did inform him that they're thinking about appointing a special counsel on this to take over this entire this entire investigation?
Yeah, and he said, I think it's a good approach. Let's just do it. Let's get the trust of the American people. Let's get accountability, and then let's focus on the things that matter.
So he's on board with the situation of getting a special prosecutor and having the Epstein situation put into that, so that can be formally looked at.
Anything legitimate that should be looked at.
And really in a criminal context.
He volunteered it, by the way, Steve. You know, I asked about the special, but he immediately volunteers.
So he immediately volunteered it. All right.
I follow up on it, but he immediately brings up Epstein. Like, just throw that in. Let's get it all answered. I got nothing to hide. I want truth, and I want prosecutions, and I just want the justice system to take care of what needs to be taken care of. It was really a remarkable moment.
All right, who the fuck, you guys need, tell me in the chat, if any of you guys, are any of you guys familiar with John Solomon so far as a name, as a journalist? I don't know much about him, but I've been seeing a lot of people as of late, I don't know, especially in this crowd, the Bannon Tuckers or whatever, they're throwing him up a lot, and he's had a lot of, and I wish I could recall some of them. They were like almost like kind of the Cope takes, like he's the journalist that a lot of people have been referring to as like, well, John Solomon says he has sources that say, John Solomon has sources that say, like they're treating him almost like a Hirsch Seymour or some shit. Did I get his name right? I think that's right. I think I got his name right. Like they're almost treating him like that, as if he's like, he said it, so you should 100% believe it. Not that to be clear, I'm not even thinking you should do that with Hirsch Seymour either. But he's like kind of one of those characters that people do that with. They're like, well, he's had such a good track record. And they've been doing that with Josh Solomon on this a lot, like almost, but I swear he's been wrong on like multiple things, and it's all in a very much a Cope for Trump kind of way. So here we are with him, essentially, I guess my understanding is the source we have here is Josh Solomon saying, I guess that he talked to Trump or something, and the claim is that, like, oh, special prosecutor, I'm open to a special prosecutor. And obviously the key thing of, like, oh, anything that matters or whatever the hell the caveat is there. So I don't know. I find it odd, this guy, the insistence. I am noticing from the periphery here, not knowing anything about this Josh Solomon guy, the insistence over and over again about how I should defer because he's Josh, or not Josh, John, or what is he, John. He's John Solomon, so I should listen. I don't know. Now, I will say, the name sounds familiar. I think Solomon was a name that had something to do with Sandy Hook stuff. So if it's that Solomon, then that's a whole other box of worms. But I don't think he's that one. But either way, I find it bizarre that they're like they keep holding this guy up as some special something or other. So I don't know. You guys, let me know. Is there anything to this? Is there anything to that? Should I have some magical deference to this guy? I mean, I don't know, but that's the rumor we're hearing, is that we're getting something along the lines of a special prosecutor. We have Matt Walsh here, his take on it. He says, so the issue is dumb and boring and doesn't matter, but also we need a special prosecutor to look into it, saying the messaging on this issue has been god-awful, totally schizophrenic and incoherent. So we have Matt Walsh. He's one of those people out there that seemingly is he's on the good side of it. He's not taking it. If they gave him the call, he didn't heed it. That's for sure. So, but yeah, we have breaking. President Trump considered appointing special prosecutor to investigate the Epstein files. All right, awesome. I assumed there would be like an article in here or something, but no. I guess it really is just this is a sources say thing. So this is just John Solomon, whatever the fuck. So once again, as I've been saying throughout all of this, beware sources say. Like, I don't think I could stress that enough. So, hell, we're getting sources say you're going to get special prosecutor. Well, for one, I haven't seen a special prosecutor. Two, even if I was to get special prosecutor, given your messaging, and, like, let's be real, the history of special prosecutors, like, get the fuck out of here. It means nothing to me. So, put up or shut up. But on the put up or shut up side, what they're a lot of these, the Trump, Trump fillators have been pointing out is that apparently Pam Bondi fired Maureen Comey from her job as the top DOJ Manhattan prosecutor. This is the daughter of James Comey. She's the one who was on the defenses of, or was it prosecution or defense? Either way, she was in one way or shape or form. She's a prosecutor. So the prosecutor of Ghislaine and of Diddy. So she was on both of those. And because she was in Manhattan, so it makes sense, it's a regional thing. But I don't know. There's enough of us that point out, like Comey. Come on, Comey. So we're supposed to Comey on the Comey's daughter on Diddy and Epstein. You really want us to buy that? And then obviously all the low tier conservatives going, Comey. Oh, look what maybe they did fuck with the files, and maybe they did. I don't know. But it's like, to me, I see this as more of it's a big club and you're not in it, not herder. This is one of Trump's enemies. Like, I think that's the dumb way to look at it. And I do want to take a moment. This is Gunther Eagleman who shared this. He is one of the guys that I actually, to continue on that theme we talked about earlier about kind of the flip-flopping and waffling, and he's actually a guy I gave a bunch of credit before. And I maybe I did mention on the show, but I do want to be very clear that I guess not that it matters who the fuck's keeping track of my opinions of people, but just to be clear, since I did say, hey, props to him at one point, because he was, I think, one of the ones who actually in pretty strong terms, I think he was the one who had that post. It's like, I don't care what you pay me. Rah, 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 rah. Well, no, now he's going along with a plan. Like it's all posts about like, oh, Trump's doing this at the border, Trump's doing that, and it's all like, okay, sure, cool. Those are all things that can be true at the same time, but it's pretty notable how quiet you got on the Epstein thing, and it's also, hey, here you are shilling for this. So, I know, it's, these people fell in line, and this is one of them. I just want to be very clear. I know, oh God, this guy has a soul, because he's like, he even leaned on the, like, I'm a father of however many daughters, and this is fucked up, and blah, 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 and I agree with all that, but yet, despite all of that, he betrayed his own values and said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna shill for a pedophile." All right, we got this from Marjan, one of you guys, one of the audience. We got breaking. We know exactly who had custody of the Epstein prison footage and how 2 minutes and 53 seconds vanished before the world saw it. Let's cover up the cover up as timestamps. Let's trace the chain. So let's go through that. Now, Marjan said, excellent breakdown. The comments take it further. This info needs to be out to dispel the false mystery the powers that be are trying to create surrounding it. So let's go ahead and read this together. This is from Brian Allen over at Allen Analysis. They got about like 180,000 followers, so I've never heard of them, but I guess they're kind of a big deal. So he says, the night Epstein died, only one camera in the shoe was recording. The rest down for 11 days. MCC's DVR crashed on July 29th, and no one fixed it. Not IT, not security, not leadership. That's the first failure. So who had custody of the footage? The MCC staff recorded it. FBI seized the drives on August 11th. DOJ oversaw the investigation. And in May 2025, someone under the username MJ Cole, a little squiggly mark, and then 1, opened the files in Adobe Premiere and trimmed them by exactly 2 minutes and 53 seconds. So we're looking for an MJ Cole 1. It says the cut starts at 11:58 p.m. It ends at 12:01:51 a.m. That means the entire missing minute, the one everyone asked about, was literally edited out of the final public video. Then DOJ called it raw. So even then, so they're literally lying to you. Like, I mean, obviously, once again, I try not to get too into these tech nerd shit because it's like, I don't fucking know. Because it's like, everyone's going, oh, this is provably this. And you're like, sure, I don't fucking know. It's nerd shit to me. I'm just like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I believe you. I mean, I know when I watch the video, there's very clearly a minute missing. And if we're to assume all this nerd shit is true, I mean, you don't even need to know nerd shit for the minute missing. That's gone. And you're like, you gave me some bullshit answer about something to do with. Well, I say bullshit. I guess it's believable enough. I know everyone goes to, these are the security cameras you have in these top of the line prisons. Rah, 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 rah. I'm like, yeah. I mean, apparently you've never worked in the government. Yes, that's entirely believable. To me, that's 100% believable. But now you add in this Adobe thing to it. And even then, even if there is a minute missing, you would think that, like, even if it was for perfectly plausible reasons, that the moment you put that out, that should have been put in there. And like, hey, I know everyone's going to, or just be like, hey, at this timestamp to this timestamp, this is swapped over. Maybe some sort of, this is this model of camcorder with a da 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 da. Here's if you refer to the user manual, you can tell you can't do this and that. But like, it should have had a whole fucking like something like that. So whereas none of that was like, it should have been explained for idiots like me of like why there's no minute there. And that could have been a completely bullshit reason, but it should have been explained. And the fact that you didn't explain it shows that like you either weren't aware of it or you didn't care, particularly. Because it's like the idea that there's going to be a minute and that no one's going to have any questions about that, a little ridiculous. And then, she just gave us that one sort of nonsense answer. I'm willing to believe it, but then you add in all this other stuff into it. Now it seems like that minute was not just what they portrayed it as, and it might be a little bit more than there because we're showing... It seems like you're able to this nerd shit tell that, hey, someone went in here and made edits, and there's actually close to like 3 minutes that are missing. So and then they called it raw. So they literally did lie to you if we're to assume this nerd shit essentially. And even if we are to assume that say we are, even though they haven't addressed it yet, let's just say that this is all bullshit. Like I said, they put out that video after going on and on about how they were going to take all this time to make sure they did it right and blah, 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 and all this. And they gave just the raw video, or what they call raw video, with the minute missing and didn't address it. So the meaning they either weren't aware of it because they weren't really being diligent, or they didn't care. She says, so who's responsible? And she goes, Lamine NDI. That's a weird name. I probably fucked it up. Warden who failed to fix the DVR. BOP officers Noel and Thomas, who lied about their cell checks. Company 1, a security contractor who built the faulty system. FBI CART team who took over evidence. Or the DOJ technician, MJ Cole, 1, who edited the video before release. And finally, Pam Bondi, overseeing DOJ's public explanation, said it was just a glitch. Here's what that means. The original footage ran past midnight, the system didn't crash, it rebooted and still captured some of that missing window. But instead of showing that, they cut it. They literally trimmed the timeline and tried to call it transparency. That wasn't a glitch, it was a collapse. Cameras down, footage lost, staff falsified logs, tax missed repairs. FBI edited the file. DOJ published a stitched version and hoped no one would check the metadata. So he's saying, I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but it sounds like what he's saying is like, oh no, that like what she's portraying as, oh, this is just some, bug that we have in these old camera systems or whatever, that every night at midnight it has to do some sort of reboot or whatever. No, he's saying that was a collapse. Like that was them shutting it down or some sort of something along those lines. And that's why they had to then there's that little blip and they had to stitch it up and do all these different things because of the crash. So it seems like they almost had to try to fix this. The case had one job: preserve the video, show the truth. Instead, we got Adobe Premiere, we got MJ Cole 1, we got a broken DVR and a midnight cut. And now we have 2 minutes and 53 seconds missing forever. This is bigger than Epstein. It's about chain of custody, digital forensics, and how the state handles evidence when it's inconvenient. They thought metadata didn't matter. It does now. The people deserve to see every second, not a stitched together highlight reel. Release the full unedited drive. Unmask MJ Cole 1. Explain why 2 minutes and 53 seconds vanished. We saw the edit. Now we want the receipts. So MJ Cole 1. That is who we should be asking for. And I say that, though, knowing, as I've said multiple times, that this could all be a red herring. And the camera, because as I've said, it doesn't even necessarily catch an angle. There could be literally nothing on this camera. There never had been anything on this camera whatsoever. And they're just showing us a camera that nothing was on. So this is where we're at. But at the very least, I don't know. You would think, I mean, even if it is them putting you on the wrong trail, you should still be asking, who the fuck is this MJ Cole? We should know who the fuck this is. So then more on the Epstein stuff and the specific unique nature of the weirdness that is the Epstein story. I told you guys I would zoom back in on this. We're going to kind of go a little bit into the sweetheart deal that he got, and then how it should, it looks like it was supposed to also cover Ghislaine, and this is probably going to have a key. I have a feeling in sagas to come, particularly around Ghislaine, this might become I don't know what's the word, prescient, essentially, I guess. So this is Mel, the village crazy lady. She says, shout out to God, I'm fucking stumbling over words. Shout out to Michael Tracy for his op-ed in Compact this weekend decrying the idiocy of the Epstein mythology. Had I not read that, I may have never been motivated to look into Ghislaine Maxwell's appellate case and the legal arguments she's attempting to make before SCOTUS. Did you know that part of Epstein's 2007 plea deal was a non-prosecution agreement for not only him, but for his associates as well? That's right. In 2007, Jeffrey Epstein, who had fled to Israel following his arrest, negotiated a plea deal wherein he pled guilty to 1 count of soliciting prostitution and 1 count of solicitation of minors to engage in prostitution in exchange with the U.S. State's Attorney for the Southern District of Florida. Alex Acosta agreed that not only would the feds not charge Epstein for any crimes related to this case in federal court, they also wouldn't pursue any charges against any potential co-conspirators, both named and unnamed. Now, I know we mentioned the fled to Israel thing. We didn't zoom in on that quite enough, I don't think. What a lot of people aren't aware is Epstein had multiple, essentially different passports. I believe he had a Saudi Arabia one. I think he had an Israel one with different names that weren't his. So essentially during his 2007 plea deal thingy, he disappeared to Israel, which I forget the specifics of how we find out. I know it was rumored, and I think later it actually got confirmed. I forget the specifics and how we know what. But either way, take it from me or look it up yourself. That, yeah, he disappeared to Israel during that time under, essentially a false name. And, he went to Israel, a country that should be willing to expedite him because of the unique relationship that we have with them. But, we all know how Israel is with child molesters. Apparently, you are able to just go over to Israel if you have child abuse charges, and you can escape them by going to Israel. But either way, that's what Epstein did. He went to Israel, and from there, he, with his lawyers, essentially, back and forth negotiated his plea deal from Israel. So he was in Israel, negotiated his plea deal, this insane plea deal. He negotiated that from Israel, protected. So he goes, serious question. Have you ever heard of the federal government granting a free pass to potential unnamed co-conspirators in exchange for a defendant pleading guilty to just 2 counts in state court? So here we go. Here it is. Here's the document. It says Epstein's non-prosecution agreement. September 2007, following state and federal investigations into allegations of Epstein's unlawful sexual activity, Epstein entered into an NPA with USAO SDFL. In the NPA, Epstein agreed to plead guilty to 1 count of solicitation of prostitution in violation of Florida statutes 796.07 and to 1 count of solicitations of minors to engage in prostitution in violation of Florida statute 796.03. He agreed to receive a sentence of 18 months imprisonment on the 2 charges. In consideration of Epstein's agreement, the NPA states that the U.S. Also agrees that will not institute any criminal charges against any potential co-conspirators of Epstein, including but not limited to Sarah Kellen, Adriana Ross, Leslie Groff, or Nadia Marcinkova. So, yeah, this is supposed to shield his co-conspirators, which is one of the big legal claims of Ghislaine here. All right, it's been a minute, so I checked in with you guys. Let's roll the chat, see what you guys got to say. So, all right. Soul Explorer says Alex Jones had an interview with Jake Shields the other day, and Alex was talking about the Chi-Coms and how he underestimated Israel's power. All right, cool. It's good to see. Comment Mama saying special counsels have been so effective. Exactly. All right, Adrian Brody's saying on, what's his face, the Solomon feller, he said he reported a lot on Crossfire Hurricane in the first term. Okay, all right. Let me see. Here's Nevsky. He says, while everyone is chimping out on the Epstein stuff, the DOJ is purging the Uniparty. 20 people have been fired or resigned in the last week or so. Well, that's nice. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Nevsky, I love you, brother, but I don't know. I see you with your curmudgeonly little comments and the thing. I really don't understand. I really don't understand where you are kind of coming from, to be completely honest. I know a lot of people say, oh, we're chimping out. I don't know. I mean, if there's any bridge too far, if there's anything to put your foot down on, I'd say this would be the it. There's a reason why this is. I know everyone's like, oh, there's all these other things that matter, and that's true. But there's a reason why people, I think, have selected this as like the thing. Because it's like, at the end of the day, if this is the case, I don't know if we really even can say the rest of the stuff matters, because it's all colored by this. So if the idea is that, our elites are, there's a ghost in the machine that we aren't even able to name, or aren't able to see, aren't able to tell, and we're supposed to just ignore it and move on because people are being fired. Like, I'm glad they're doing all this shit, but honestly, I think whatever little bit of maybe good things are happening right now is probably because people are freaking out about this, because they're trying to be like trot things out. And I don't know, fine, whatever, I'm good with that. But keep that pressure on, keep bitching about Epstein. People can call it chimping out if they want. And I think our points can kind of coexist here. You're like, oh, he's purging the Uniparty. I'll be honest, big old fucking doubt on that. Okay, cool. All right, whatever. I mean, I remember the whole Doge nonsense. Everything has seemingly been undercut throughout all of this. But let's say that's true. Great. Cool. Keep doing that. Keep fucking... If you're trying to distract us or me or whatever with doing good things while this Epstein stuff is like, okay, well then do it harder, do it louder. I don't know what. All I've been hearing so far is, yeah, I guess we have gotten some people fired, resigning or whatever, but so far as like, are we getting any prosecutions? Are we getting any, like, I don't know. I mean, I need something. I need something. I know we've heard talks about, what do we hear recently? What they floated out like Comey or who's the other guy? One of the other, it's like, hey, going after him for some 2016 something or other. I mean, I roll my eyes like that's going to happen, but like at the same time, like, okay, well then do it. Then fucking go get him. Like do something. Like then okay, sure. I guess sure. Theoretically, maybe there's enough of like dope ass shit you could do to get me to forget about the Epstein stuff. But the problem is, it doesn't really even seem like they're doing any dope ass shit at all. And even then, it's like it's still child rape. So. It's like, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, they're like, it doesn't matter what you do. That's kind of the point. And to some degree, that's true. But it's like but you're also doing nothing. So you gotta give us something here. I don't know. I can't understand the idea of just be like the chimping out narrative. To people being like, because you're not the first person I see repeat this idea. Like, everyone's chimping out. Okay, whatever, fine. I mean, I don't know. You're not gonna catch me. Just letting this slide. I'm sorry. Yeah, these people deserve to be called out. It's kind of a big fucking deal. You couldn't have said it any louder to you that, like, hey, the whole child rape thing, whatever. I don't know. I don't really understand this. I just don't understand this cope. It seems like very, 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 very obvious cope. So, So Uniparty purge, yeah. So. I wonder what's going on somewhere else while we're all consumed with the Epstein files. Yeah, there's truth to that too. I'm sure they're doing wild shit. At the same time, they are frantically trying to get us to move on. So if anything, that's more like, fuck you, we're sticking here, buddy. The prison hallway video is bullshit, top to bottom. Missing minutes is a distraction. That's kind of my feeling too, that like almost is like everyone's going to go all through this and find out there's nothing. So I don't know. Also saying metadata don't lie. Sure, I don't know. I don't really know what metadata is, to be honest, so I'll take your word for it. She said it was a nightly reset. If that's true, they could have had multiple other nights out same day, still nothing. Yeah, I mean, like, you'd think that you would have, like, other you could point to easily if that were the case. Like, hey, here's the raw data, and I guess assuming metadata is a thing or whatever, then you could also, other people could point to those videos and go, yeah, well, the metadata shows those haven't been altered either, so it's legit. This whole minute thing she's talking about is true. But we're seeing all this screwing and messing with the data that seemingly has happened, so it's becoming more and more looking like, I don't know, that was just completely made up. Let me see. It blows my mind they didn't keep up the lie of none of the cameras working. Again, Republicans are retarded. Just lie and move on. Yeah, I know, right? Let me see. Scrolling through. If they really did have to delete 3 minutes of footage to remove the shot of the guy coming and going, he must be the slowest assassin ever. Yeah, exactly. I know everyone keeps coming down like, oh, this is the amount of time you need to kill him. Like, no, that's this amount of time you would need to theoretically, best case scenario, come in and out, or in or out. And even then, there's a chance that may not even need to be the case. I think there's There may have been another way in and around. So, yeah. So exactly, Jose. It's not like the whole thing hinges on the footage. Just another data point. So, yep. Epstein was in Saudi Arabia the night before the election, 2016, says Comment Mama. Trump's visit after becoming president was to Saudi Arabia. Scrolling through. Cover up the state-sponsored child rape ring versus Trump firing people he doesn't like. Yeah, I'm going to stay on the Epstein thing. So here we go. Listening to War Mode this morning, they said the pedos won this round, but they're not going to win the war, says Tom33. Has anyone attempted to explain the color difference in the handrails, painted black in original photos, wood grain in video? Yeah, I know. I've heard people say that. I never really looked too much into that. See what the specifics are on that. See what the deal is there. Sorry, give me a second. Turn off my phone. Just realized I left it on. Sorry. So unprofessional. All right. Here we go. Back into it. All right, let's get into the next story. All right, here is the manifesto of that Minnesota shooter, Bolter. Someone used Grok to transcribe it recently, so I figured it'd be interesting to read it with you guys. I haven't read it yet, so yeah, I don't know what to make of this. Let's go through it. So this is the Vance Bolter. Here's the original photo or pictures of him. I think we showed this once on the show, but it was like, Jesus Christ, I'm not going to try to read that chicken. It's like me handwriting a manifesto. And did he put his own fucking redactions in there? I'm just realizing there's like line spots, and it almost looks like like he did a redaction, like while he was. Anyways, that's weird. But I guess someone took Grok and did that for us because they know none of us wanted to try to struggle reading that on a show. So here we go. Page 1. Dear Kash Patel, my name is Dr. Vince Luther Brother, EDD. I am the short at large in Minnesota involved in the Steel 2 stages, the running of Saturday, June 15th at approximately 2:30 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. or so, and what time I will probably be dead by the time you read this letter. Jesus Christ, this is already, from the first paragraph, the grammar is god-awful. I want to share some info with you that you might find interesting. I was told by U.S. military people off the books story in college. I have been on posts since that time in Eastern Europe with America, the Middle East, and Africa, all in the line of duty, what I thought was right and in the best interest of the United States. Recently, I was approved about a project that Tim wanted done and was aware of the project Tim wanted me to kill Amy Klobuchar and Thrakal. I don't know if that's who. It looks like some sort of typo or something, or was to be the senator, and he cleared that to retire as planned. Tim wants to be a senator at the last minute with Amy's. And then I think these are the redacted looking things. Like literally on the original, it's like a line. So I swear it's like he literally almost like redacted it himself as he's writing. So Tim wants to be a senator at the last minute with Amy's blank. Gave Tim would get me of the gun Senate seats, and blank wants to be governor and kill Elon would be round with a lead snow potion. I told Tim I would do with it, and he did call that plan I would. Jesus Christ, blank. I told Tim I read with it to do with it, and if I did play ball, then he set up go public. He said he would cut it hurt my family if I did play ball, and then he set up meds with me and MD and to take out jobs when I would. They had some people waiting. Holy shit! It's funny that they use Grok to translate his writing, but it almost feels like he used Grok to write his fucking manifesto, and even then, like an earlier version that didn't do a very good job. All right, let's get back to it. I was able to get away by God's mercy, so I shot back a short time later, and shot back at me. Blank. I should never have. I didn't fire one round at my price affairs, and boy, did I have plenty of opportunity. Asked for the report of my weapons and ammo I had with me. And page 2, cops were pulling up right next to me in white vehicles, and I had an AK aimed right at your head, and I could have let a pile of caps out. But I didn't shoot and picked rounds, law enforcement. You can ask them. I signed the police, and they don't want to see them hurt. Blank, but if they murder my wife or kids next time, I won't give them a pass. If you think I'm making this up get on the phone and tell Tim you have a few questions for him. If he knows me and see what he says. If he doesn't, he didn't know me or never met me. Look in the files and you'll see that Tim Walz doesn't know me or never met me. Look in the files and you will see the business personally agreed me to be in his grown website boards, or at the business possibly agreed me to be in his grown website at his public read. Okay, this is weird. Representatives, he is probably trying to destroy it to its members when they first happened. Then ask Tim Walz why he left the shot silent. The mean streets figured out that not a word in the press about it. What the fuck? Why? They need to get less for stories dragged bricks. So everyone was on me, same page about what happened. I'm probably crazy. I know not a word in the press that it. Why? They need to get less for stories dragged bricks. Jesus, this guy just seems like doesn't even fucking make sense, to be honest. It's concerning. So everyone was on me, the same page about what happened. I'm probably crazy, I know. It's not because I'm still at large and he knows what I can say, and that right now, because I'm still at large and he knows what I can say, you can bet on that about all the buried skeletons are. So I will be shot on sight. You can bet that I need to be held where I want me to turn myself in. It need to be closely to you, and then I need to be held. If you want me to turn in air or in the Middle East, or at least on a ship where guys share in a military prison and in air in the Middle East, or at least on a ship where guys share in a military prison anywhere and can get to anybody safely. They had nothing to do with their guns everywhere in all the bins. What the fuck? I didn't want my baby. Want this was a one-person job. I'm willing to spill all the beans, and we totally prevent this was a one-person job. All right, yeah, that made no fucking sense. So, wow, that's something. I don't know, what are you guys' thoughts? Does this guy sound crazy? Sound like they're fucking with his head? This is weird. I don't really know if there's much to be said about that, but I figured it was worthwhile reading. He clearly is not all there, whatever's going on here. So, yeah. Scrolling through. Guy's talking about war mode in there. I'm still not entirely sure what that show is. Dude's got the grammar skills of a Baltimore future doctor. What the fuck? Yeah, didn't he have some like weird honorifics with his name too? Let me see what he was, because I think the idea that he's this retarded is kind of weird to me. So let's share this. Who is he? Education. He supposedly went to university from, it was, okay, fuck. He supposedly went to university from 2011 to 2016. Also from 28 to 2010, and from 93 to 96. Supposedly he graduated from a religious school, from a Dallas religious school. So I don't know. I mean, like, obviously there's a lot of retards that go to college, but this is another level of not being all there, or not being a good writer. Like the writing here, like this would have to be like some really low level, low IQ, like retard herder, fucking most hillbilly, parody type thing you think of shit. So I point being is a struggle to buy this guy who, had multiple school, like he was supposed to be some sort of fucking, let me see if I can find his, what's his work, maybe his resume or work or something. I'm trying to see what he did, because his work history. He worked at University of Minnesota, although I think he worked, as he was just working as security, so you can be a retard and be a security, to be fair, because that was his thing. He worked for some sort of weird security for him. So I know, I struggle to believe this guy is this fucking stupid. So I'm trying to see like what there is out there, to say the opposite. But yeah, I struggle to believe he's that fucking dumb. So it's weird. Oh yeah, there's Shane Gillis's boys is war mode. Okay, there you go. Sounds like Travis in the Tower Gang Telegram. Yeah. Why would you subject us to that? Hey, I think it was worthwhile listening to. I mean, while it was like completely unintelligible, like now we know like something's going on with that guy. I mean, obviously it doesn't make any sense so far as like trying to understand the logic of it, but something's obviously going on with him. He's not all there. So I think that's something worthwhile being aware of. So Uncle Ted's was real, but this seems fake and gay. I don't even know if I'd say it's fake and gay. I mean, like, it almost leans more into, like, this guy, whether he was either crazy or made crazy or something, because it reads like that to me. Why wouldn't they just do it digitally at this point if you can't write? Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe they did just fucking AI it, because it also does feel like AI. Boomer says Ted's was probably what pushed feds to pump fake manifestos, maybe, perhaps. Yeah, I don't know. This one is weird, though. Weird. All right, let's get into the next story. Let's talk a little bit about the Autopens breaking. This is from a few days ago. Dr. Fauci's pardon was signed off at 10:30 p.m. by White House aide Jeff Zients using the president's Autopen signature. Now, here's one of the things that our buddy Nevsky is probably talking about, like, hey, these are things that, like, hey, you guys should be paying attention to. And I'll give it to you. We should. We probably should pay a little bit more attention to this stuff. Although, to some extent, I don't know. I mean, these Autopen pardons things, it's kind of like, yeah, I guess I don't want them to do that. Sure, prosecute them. I don't know. I mean, pardons are kind of like, I don't know. It's whatever. This isn't an issue that I personally care about all too much. It's frankly gay, but is it like it'd be better if it wasn't an Autopen? And do we really believe that it really necessitated an Autopen? You probably could have got him to just fucking do it anyways. I know that the crazy thing about this, from my understanding, maybe we'll find more tabs in these for maybe like tomorrow or later shows, because it is kind of interesting, the flagrant nature of which these are being unraveled and coming out. They're like, oh yeah, no, this guy literally in the most flagrant of ways just blatantly did this thing. You're like, okay, well then prosecute. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like we're getting thrown these. They're like, oh my God, they did this, they did that. Oh, stop looking at Epstein. You're like, okay, cool, prosecute. What's going on with this Epstein thing? like, cool. Like, okay, all right. Well, I'm glad you're telling me about this. Now, prosecute. I mean, I don't know. Is there a prosecution to be had? I mean, I don't know enough about the legal side of things, but yeah. So how much attention do I really need to vote this? I'm like, cool. I mean, that's sick. I mean, I'm glad you guys pointed that out. They pointed down to the very person. It seems like you have a trail of evidence here. Do your thing. Like, I don't know what it, because yeah, it does seem like these are being thrown to be like, to honestly, it's almost like this, oh, you guys don't even care about the important issues. Like, oh, we have this going on, that going on. You're like, okay, what do you want? What do you want from us here? What does anyone want from us on this story? Cool. You did all the work aside from the prosecution, so do it. What do you need here? No one's going to tell you not to prosecute, so just do it. Get some goodwill. There's some free goodwill. Now, as I mentioned earlier in this episode, how everyone these days, especially the ones coping for Trump, want to point out how, hey, he dodged a bullet like a goddamn superhero and this and that. Oh, he kicked Epstein out of his, all these cope things. Well, I've been noticing a going theme where people are starting to question the old assassination more and more. Now, I'm not saying anything here is a bullet in that idea. And I've been one said for a while that, like, I don't think you should throw out that concept because, I mean, it's hard not to notice what a goddamn slam dunk this was for the Trump administration. I mean, this is the greatest political fucking, card there probably damn near ever has been in the American politics that I can really think of. They're like, holy shit. Look, this guy damn near got shot. He had a cool pose after, like, damn, after his enemies going after him for years and years and years. Cool as fuck. But it is like, it's one of these pattern recognition things. You got to say, hey, is it too much? Is it too on the nose? Now I'm open to, whatever. It being legit. This is fully, people tried to kill him. I'm fully willing to believe the deep state tried to kill him or whatever because they preferred another option. He was just a bridge too far for them. But that doesn't mean necessarily that he's not playing their game now. But either way, I think it is something that you should, should keep. People have acted like, I think from the jump, that it was ludicrous to even think there's a possibility that not everything was as it seems. And I always have liked to bring up over and over again the RFK example, how the powers that be, the intel community, how they play how they do magic tricks. The idea of how Sirhan came in, he was doesn't remember any of this. He boom, 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 shoots a bunch of shots towards RFK Sr. And then from there, then his, as that's happening, the actual killer comes up and, I forget the guy's name. It's like something Chavez or something. I forget, whatever. Anyways, the guy comes up behind him, bullet to the, I believe, like basically the back of the neck, and then boom. And that's what kills him. Now, from the outside looking in, this looks like crazed gunman walks in, fires a bunch of shots towards him in the direction of both the target of assassin and the assassin. So that's why a lot of people think it was probably blanks. So there you go. You have blanks being fired. Like, this is magic. What you're watching is a magic trick. You're watching someone going a complete deception of like, look over here while something happens over there. We will distract you with a boom, 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 boom over here. While meanwhile, nothing's actually really happening there. And then on the over here, you hear, right, done, game over. That you're seeing a magic trick. Now, would that be? Now, do I know exactly the specific mechanisms of how someone could pull off a similar such magic trick in the Trump assassination attempt? I don't know how they could do it, but it seems like it'd probably be not that hard. I'm not a fucking magician, but sleight of hand, misdirection, these aren't like high-level concepts. I don't think you would really even need like a top-level fucking magician to orchestrate this, nor do I even think it would really even take that crazy of an operation to pull off. But I don't fucking know. Maybe it would. Maybe it wouldn't. But on that note, I think this is worth considering. Here's Ken Silva. He shared from Headline USA this post from Helen. This video from Helen Comparatori, the husband or the wife of Corey Comparatori, the one who died, that was pointed to, and she points to how she never got her husband's phone back, the phone of which he was recording the event, the phone that he almost certainly would have caught the shots that killed him. So thought that was interesting. Here's Ken Silva. Here's the video that Ken shared.
Finally received Corey's phone back from the FBI. I had to wait 7.5 months to get this phone back, and it's all I wanted. I even asked the president to try to get his phone back. His phone was sitting in a room full of evidence from that day. It was in an envelope with nothing on it. Didn't even have Corey's name on it. It was just thrown in with a bunch of other evidence. It was never looked at. They never looked at it. The first thing I did, I opened it up and I went straight to his pictures because I wanted to see what kind of pictures he took that day. So I clicked on the very first photo and it happened to be a video.
Says the following cell footage has never been shown to the public before. This isn't recently in a documentary, by the way.
It starts when President Trump turns to look at the graph and he's pointing. So I knew immediately that it was going to be the shooting.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
You see Corey duck down, then he gets shot. And then his phone falls, it almost falls to like a slight angle like this. And there's like blood splatter, and then you can hear everything for 3.5 minutes. Just hearing your kids scream like that, it's just torture. No kid should ever have to go through that. Never. Never. I just had to relive the entire day all over again. It always makes me so sad. But I love to see it. Because he just is such a big part of this place down here. For so many years.
Now that is some metadata I want to see. I know they say, obviously, the quote he got here is his phone was sitting in a room full of evidence from that day. It was in an envelope with nothing on it. It didn't even have Corey's name on it. It was just sitting with a bunch of other evidence. It was never looked at. They never looked at it. So, I mean, obviously there's two ways. I mean, like, the fact they had this for so goddamn long, it's kind of wild that it took them 8 months to give them back. But, you know, if we're to take them at their word that it was, you know, that they didn't, it seems like they didn't do anything with it. And, okay, what the fuck? Like, that's the degree to which you investigate it. But on the flip side, it's like, I don't know, I have my doubts that they didn't. And I'd kind of want to see the metadata on that phone. Obviously, that's very speculative. But I don't know, find it particularly interesting that they didn't even seem to really either give a shit, or at the very least, they held their phone for 8 months. So it's like they had plenty of time to do all sorts of stuff with the phone in the meantime. So that is something I would like to see the metadata on. All right, here's another video. I don't know, should this be our last one? Maybe this will be our last one before we finish today. Let's watch. This is one I've had saved in here for a few days just because I thought it was, I don't know, how do I not share a video of adrenochrome and one of the major political figures, movers and shakers, talking about it. So here's Jim Caviezel with Bannon, and I guess they talk about adrenochrome here, and then also the Epstein Islands. Now, I don't know how kooky. I've heard Caviezel gets a little bit into the Q stuff pretty goddamn hard, so I don't know. I just thought this would be interesting to watch. No, it's the audio's out again. God damn it. Just give me a second. There you go. Oh. I'm an idiot. I just realized the wrong thing shared the whole time. God damn it. I keep fucking up.
For labor, for slave labor, or is it
adrenochrome? The whole adrenochrome empire. This is a big deal. It is listed under the NIH. It is a chemical compound. Its molecular structure is C9H9NO3. It's an elite drug that they've used for many years. It's 10 times more potent than heroin, and it has some mystical qualities as far as making you look younger. There's
that scene in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas that nobody can figure out.
No, I saw that. And why does MS-13 have the most advanced guns? You know, why do we Sinaloa gangs have all? How come 110,000 people died or disappeared in Mexico City? Where did they go? And they're starting pulling people out of body bags now. You know, how this is just insane. With our military, our special forces, and we don't take care of this.
You can't just have that demand unless somehow that's organized also.
100%. I believe. Okay, so the agents that I've spoken to. All right, here's the for a barrel of oil, $77. For a barrel of body parts, and what's going to be adrenochrome, all the plumes that are in the mother's wombs, that goes into a plastic barrel. That's $77,000. Now that gets sent into these biolabs.
Barrel oil,
$77. $77,000 for Ukrainians have Russian bloodline and everything. And then I started looking up that. Then I started looking up the
crazy thing. He's probably right. I don't fucking know.
This Azov battalion stuff.
Sounds
the
nuts.
Nazis. And then we just find out
that we're financing.
But we were told for 2 years that this is not. There's no Nazis there. And now there are. Right. Again, this is another conspiracy theory. See, it keeps changing. It either this or that. See, and this is where it's a joke. When you know, and Americans are seeing this. We're talking about this all the time. But I was given good data on this, and now I realize, well, wait a minute. Maybe Putin was defending himself. Well, who is NATO? Who is the UN? And who are the central banks? Who is the IMF, the ECB, the private Western central banks, the Rothschild banks? And then you start going, wow, this is fascinating.
Is this why you're
out Epstein Island? So in this movie, there is a sex island, because Epstein Island isn't the only sex island out there.
What do you mean? Okay, talk about the sex island, because this thing's dealing with Colombia. Talk about the sex island.
In this particular film, well, they do a raid, and the lady that ran that operation, she was out. She was out of prison. You see, so you've got a lot of agencies that are involved in this. Why wasn't she in prison? So he was down there talking to their side of their government, saying, "Do you understand when this film comes out, it's going to shine a light on you, and if you don't put her back in prison, you're going to have problems."
All right. Well, Caviezel's mega based, huh? All right, let's roll through the chat. It's been a minute since I checked in with y'all. See what you guys got to say. Sorry, fuck that one all up. There you go. Pardons are uncheckable per the Constitution. You can't unpardon someone, says Mogera. So now he goes, now the Autopen thing adds a wrinkle. Obviously, SCOTUS would probably uphold the pardons, but make a rule that from now on you can't use the Autopen. Yeah, that would make sense. Exactly. It seems kind of like Probably be like some sort of technicality non-issue. Like, I mean, what can you even really do with this, really? But you should. I mean, I know I'm down for a prosecuting. Let's fucking go. Let me scroll through. It was on Bondi's desk. Yeah, for sure. Let me see. JC says, I can't believe the assassination narrative. Way too many ridiculous coincidences and suspicious attempts to hide evidence. Lack of trust is their fault. Show us all the evidence if it's true. JC said, Ken's done a good job investigating all the weird things the feds and the local county has done after the event. Yeah, he's writing a book, for those who aren't aware, so it should be coming out sometime soon-ish. John Black says, I think the assassination attempt was kayfabe. Perhaps it is. Someone says, so now you're really into metadata. Yeah, I want to see metadata on that phone for sure, whatever the fuck that means. Then JC said, if I remember correctly, wasn't this the event where they brought in a Jewish coroner from another county who was also an Israeli dual citizen or something? Yeah, that sounds familiar. I remember it was something weird like that. Yeah, I know everyone's saying the audio. I'm up to the audio one. Yeah, I showed you the Yeti blood oath one, so now I got to show you that one. So yeah, we'll show that one in a second. I'm sorry, I jacked up the audio. Comment Mama says no Catholic in the world, especially a famous one, is going to be able to question global banks like that unless they want him to. The whole system is fake and gay, just there to protect their interests, yet people still believe in it. Just wild. Yeah, I want to get fucking Caviezel up on this bitch. This dude's fucking anointed as shit. All right. I showed you that Yeti cult one, so I can't not show it to you. So this will be the second to last one. We'll continue our live reading of the Dutroux Program to Kill. But I have to share this with you guys because, hey, I accidentally had this tab up when I thought the video was playing earlier, so I can't show this to you and not go into it. This is from Robert Sclavarla. Pretty good follow if this stuff interests you. He said there's a satanic Yeti cult operating out of the Archdiocese of Denver. And so he shared this article from The Pillar. It says, Yeti blood oath divides Denver seminary. This is a well-intended moment. It clearly went badly wrong and never should have happened. And then it goes, when they entered the trailer, the seminarians were met by Father Neppel, who can be seen in the video setting up a camera to record the occasion, along with a senior seminarian and participant on the trip, and a person dressed in a Yeti costume. Each seminarian was then invited to sit at a table on which there was a dagger and what appeared to be blood and a $1 bill on a piece of paper. All right, and there's more of this, more excerpts. Says the official response to the events was rendered more confusing, according to local priests and seminary students, because the Archdiocesan, Jesus Christ, that's a fucking weird word, exorcist was called in by the archbishop to address the affair. All the seminarians involved were to meet with the exorcist, who prayed over them, and they made a formal renunciation of this blood oath that they had made, one priest familiar with the events told The Pillar. And it says another priest confirming the meetings with the exorcist said that there was nothing explicitly occult or what have you in the ceremony, which looked pretty ridiculous to me in the video, but the significance of a blood oath is what it is, even if it's supposed to be a kind of joke. The Archdiocese confirmed The Pillar in its statement the investigation had included a proactive consultation with an exorcist out of abundance with caution due to potential spiritual harm for such oaths. So, yeah. So they're saying, I guess, the take is some people are saying this is seminarians. So this is some sort of seminar, which I guess that's maybe like Archdiocese was like some sort of religious students of some sort. And so they're saying, oh, this is seminarians having fun. But then they're talking about how they, in this thing, did this weird blood oath. And then there's a fucking Yeti involved. Like, what? And then they were forced to then have to go to an exorcist to get them to exercise because of something to do with the fact they made a blood oath. Yeah, they had to make a formal renunciation of a blood oath that they had made. So, okay. And then apparently there's a comment in the article. It's funny. It said, who said this is nothing new in Colorado. People were scandalized by this. Obviously, aren't Coloradans. Like, okay, what the fuck? So yeah, this is bizarre. Especially like, I don't know. Not to. I mean, maybe it's just some bizarre prank we caught up on, but it is. I mean, I know I obviously have dots I can connect here, especially with all the cargo cults and how they always come back to like aliens or some shit, and you're like, I don't know. Then you go into the shit of like with the deep conspiracies when you get into the Catholic stuff, and so you're like, is there some demonic inversion going? But I don't know. This is maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just some goofy goobers having fun in seminary. But hey, either way, this is a real article in the world. A Yeti blood oath divides Denver seminary. So, all right, let's roll to the chat, and then we're going to do the final read, and we'll get on out of here. Let's see what you guys got to say. Bannon looks like he went cold turkey in the adrenochrome, says Wayne, for sure. The Exorcist of the Archdiocese, Jose. Yep. Okay, the male deodorant commercials are getting wild, says Comment Mama. It's a pretty good one. Catholics in action. Tell Jules to bring back Cryptid Watch for this. And then Wizuck says Yeti / Bigfoot are creatures made by the fallen angels. Not good. Yeti Seminary, says Tony Shin. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. I mean, it's so bizarre that I have a hard time, like, in any serious way, being like, oh, let's do some serious commentary of this Yeti cult or whatever the fuck this is, or oath or whatever. But it's a thing. It's out there. But all right, guys, let's get into our last thing of the day. We're going to continue our live reading of this essentially program to kill serial killer in Belgium around the same time as all the Dutroux stuff. All right, let's keep going. It says, Mr. X, in the spring of 97, a particular testimony led the investigators to a certain man. Let's call him X. A local bar owner in the Mons train station district informs the police that one of his regulars made a curious remark in November of 1996. Says, do you see these hands? They've killed many times. Now, a reminder, we're on part 3 of this. So the last 2 morning dumps, we covered the first 2 parts. So if you want to catch those, you can go to the timestamps and go to the applicable area. I always save these for the end. But if you want to just read the whole damn article and other articles, much in the same vein of topic, you can go check out ircnic.substack.com. You also can follow him on Twitter at IRC_NIC, or just the name IRCNIC. So he has a lot of great Dutroux content. I highly recommend him. He's someone I've read a lot of his stuff on. One of those rare resources, because with the Dutroux thing, it's one of those rare things that you need to be multilingual to be able to really become an expert. And I'm pretty sure this guy is, judging by his coverage. So I am not. So you kind of have to have certain. So pointing out someone like him is useful if you are trying to learn more about this story. But anyways, granted it was late and he had too many drinks, but 5 months later, the first human remains turned up. The cops managed to trace him back. X is a night owl. He lurks around in the bars of the train station district. 2 bartenders say they've previously seen him with 2 of the victims. One of them went to bed with X at the Metropole. The man is apparently cold and distant. He needs alcohol to loosen up and to approach women, who explains why he's always getting drunk. The cops found out that X lived right near the first dumping site of the trash bags. Underneath his property, his garage way led to a basement, which had a dozen small rooms. Strange. Could he have kept his victims or their bodies there? X is also identified as the employee of a packing factory, which coincides with the professional way the butcher wrapped the body parts in those trash bags. A quick check of his activity shows that he had no work-related alibi on the days of the disappearances. Furthermore, a witness claims to have seen a car acting weird on Vandervelde Street near the first dumping site of the trash bags. The brand and model both correspond to the car X owned. Evidently, the investigating judge, Pierre Pallette, requests the arrest of X and a house search. The police are especially interested in his basement and the numerous rooms inside. They immediately notice that it's kept extremely clean. In fact, it's been perfectly scrubbed clean with a strong detergent. The same applies to the house pipes. An analysis of his water usage records lets appear that his usage of water was very high from June 95 to 96. When asked about it, X says he's a hygiene freak. But that isn't all. The cops got a hold of his computer, and it also seems to have been cleaned up prior. They found pornography of the regular type, along with some sort of virtual sex video game. There's also pictures X has taken of a woman zooming in on body parts. It's all very anatomical charts looking. The cops identify the woman who's very much alive. Her profile is similar to those of the 5 victims, an isolated woman. She says she has suffered absolutely no harm at the hands of X. Part of the other pictures found on the computer are pictures of places around Mons, Most importantly, some of the places where body parts were found. X says he just liked to walk around. As an amateur photographer, he took a lot of pictures and was led to those places coincidentally. Granted, this isn't direct evidence, but surely the Mons police thinks they've got their guy. They've pressed it on him during questioning. He stays cool, doesn't show any weakness. When the cops bring up the bartenders who would have seen him with the victims, he loses his cool and insults them, but it stops there. X seems aware of the little psychological game going on with the police, and so he almost makes it as a challenge and mocks the cops and the psychiatrist that questions him. He doesn't crack, and after a few days, he's released. He's free. He won't ever be heard again by the police or the investigating cell. X's personality seems too similar to Dutroux's personality. He's a narcissistic pervert. X moved away after this, and in 1997, while bar cruising, he meets a woman he ends up settling with. By the summer of 97, they're officially a couple. Coincidence or not, the butcher stopped killing by July of that year. X is put under surveillance, but he never slips up. The investigators never found the smoking gun they were looking for. I'm very tempted to say this man fits the profile and is the butcher. In fact, he seems to be matching with a soft killer profile established at the FBI a little too much. It's possible the cops might exaggerate some of the similarities because they believe they had their man. 29 years later, X who could still be living in Belgium, has vanished. Since then, a variety of other suspects have been presented, with none being established as a perpetrator. There's a local Jacques Antoine who was denounced by his son in a series of letters written to the investigating judge. The doctor had just been arrested for assaulting a beautician. Nothing about the doctor fit the profile of the killer, and there was no further proof indicating it could have been him. All right, well, that's enough for today. We will pick up tomorrow. Let's roll through the chat to see what you guys got to say, and then get on out of here. What's up, guys? All right, they probably just think it's just for kicks. Yeah, let's see what happens to them later, talking about the Yeti thing. All right, I think that's it, guys. I think that's all we got for today. All right, for those who want to support what I'm doing over here, you can leave a like, share, subscribe, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. All these are actions you can take that don't cost you a single gosh darn buck. Oh, man, I just dropped something. I'm sorry. That was probably distracting. But if you do want to help out the show in the best way you really can, you can do that with money over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That's where you get access to early episodes. I've been doing 1 to 2 or so a week these lately, and so that, about 4 behind the paywall at any given time. So weeks of paywall content. You also get access to the ad-free RSS feed. You also get access to the Telegram. And you get access to the pre-show and priority for the call-ins on me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, which is on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern and goes out on both of our platforms. At the highest level are my sponsors, and I read them off every episode. It's a big thank you to them because I appreciate everything you guys do and keeping the show going. I have my former co-hosts on Tower Gang at Learn to Toad, also have at AbrogateDs, at ZOVRACK, at _Invisiel, Tim Tuttle, at John Klebold, Will Bell's Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine, big fan of the show, Tormate, and then at Wayne, WAYNE, Taculus, and Jordan Pearson. So I appreciate all of you guys for the support. With that, guys, give me a second. Let me vamp while I set up the post, set up the outro. And with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's show. We will see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. I don't think, maybe we'll start maybe like a half hour or something early. Maybe, I don't know. It's up in the air. But till then, I'll see you guys then. Hope you guys have a good day. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have one message for America. Welcome to Afghanistan.
What's up, Yusuf?
And the American souvenir.
Oh, it's not even on safety right now.
10-pound rotten fat.
Assalamu